Good to have you back. Today, I've got two of the most twisted Reddit stories I could find. Subscribe for more, and let's get started. My apartment manager keeps fixing things I never reported broken. The fixes started small, little things she never asked for, things she barely noticed until the pattern became impossible to ignore. I'm a 26-year-old remote graphic designer, living alone in a mid-sized apartment building downtown. 3 weeks ago, I came home from a coffee shop to find my bathroom faucet replaced. No more drip, brand new fixture. I never reported it broken. I figured maybe the building was doing preventative maintenance without notice. Weird, but I didn't think much of it. Then my bedroom window latch got fixed. I hadn't even noticed it was loose until I saw the tiny screws on my nightstand. A week later, the kitchen cabinet hinges that used to squeak were suddenly silent and tightened. That's when I got suspicious. I went to the building office and asked to see the maintenance logs. The property manager, Carl, pulled them up without hesitation. There were my work orders, 4 over the past month. Each had my email address, apartment number, and my electronic signature on the request form. I never sent any of them. I asked to see the timestamps. 2 requests were submitted at 3:14 a.m. and 2:47 a.m. on weeknights. I was asleep. But there was my signature, email confirmation, everything official. I went through the logs more carefully. Carl has been entering my apartment 2 to 3 times a week for 4 months. Every entry tied to a work order I never made. Someone has access to my email and is creating maintenance requests to give him a legitimate reason to come inside my apartment. 4 months of visits. She'd been home for most of them, working at her desk, sleeping in her bed, completely unaware someone was using her own identity to authorize every entry. Someone had been inside again and again, and they'd made it all look legitimate. She went looking for proof. What she found was worse than a missing signature. I spent the next 2 hours tearing through my email. I searched for any messages to the building's maintenance system. Found them. 4 auto-replies confirming my work orders had been received and scheduled. I never sent the original requests. I checked my sent folder. Nothing. No outgoing maintenance requests at all. But the server confirmations were there, time-stamped and official, thanking me for reporting the issues. They referenced ticket numbers I'd never seen before. The next morning I went back to Carl's office. I stayed calm, asked if there was any way someone else could have submitted those requests on my behalf. He looked genuinely confused, pulled up his digital system and walked me through it step by step. My email address, my apartment number, my electronic signature on every single form. The requests even included specific details about what was broken, details that were accurate. Everything looked completely legitimate from his perspective. He asked if I thought my account had been hacked. I said maybe. He offered to change how he verifies work orders going forward, seemed genuinely concerned about the situation. But he'd been doing his job correctly the whole time. Everything checked out on his end. I started keeping a detailed log. Every time a new work order appeared in the system, I documented exactly where I was and what I was doing. Coffee shop visits with timestamps on my credit card receipts. Video calls with work meetings showing my location in the background. Building my case piece by piece. During a call with my coworker Mia yesterday, I mentioned what was happening. She went quiet for a moment, then said I needed to change every password immediately and check my apartment for anything security related. Maybe install a camera. That's when it really sank in. Someone doesn't just have access to my email, they might have a way into my apartment too. The violations were layering, digital first, then physical. She locked everything down, but the apartment itself started speaking in whispers. I changed every password that night. Email, banking, social media, work accounts, enabled 2-factor authentication on everything that offered it. It took 3 hours, but I felt safer knowing whoever had been in my email was now locked out. The next morning I woke up and something felt off. My kitchen chair was angled differently. I always push it in square to the table. This one was pulled out slightly, rotated a few degrees to the left. I stood there staring at it for 5 minutes, trying to convince myself I was being paranoid. Then I noticed my closet door. I always close it completely before bed. It was open about 6 inches. I checked my bedroom window, still locked from the inside. Front door deadbolt engaged like I'd left it. I started seeing things everywhere. A book on my coffee table moved to the other end. My bathroom towel hung backwards from how I always hang it. Tiny displacements that could be nothing or could be everything. I ordered a hidden camera online with overnight shipping, something small I could mount near my front door to see who was coming and going. Yesterday, my ex-boyfriend Darren texted me out of nowhere, asking if my building had upgraded to a new key card system yet. We broke up 8 months ago and barely talk. The question seemed random at the time, but now it's sitting in my head like a stone. I barely slept last night, kept waking up at every small sound, wondering if someone was inside. Went to the door 3 times to check the deadbolt. I can't go to the police without proof. Right now, it just sounds like paranoia. I need to catch whoever is doing this on camera. Those 3 a.m. email submissions are a massive red flag. Check your login history immediately. Someone has your credentials and is using them while you sleep. I just checked, and there are login attempts from an IP address I don't recognize, always between 2 and 4 a.m. My work laptop sits on my bedroom dresser. I'm changing every password tonight and enabling 2-factor on everything. As a building super for 15 years, this is not normal. Legit managers knock first, even with work orders. Something is very wrong here. Document everything with dates and save those logs. This could be criminal trespass or worse. You might need a restraining order. Who had been moving her things? The camera arrived. 3 days later, she watched the footage. I found out who was really entering my apartment. I installed the camera on Wednesday. Thursday morning at 4:17 a.m., a figure appears on the footage. Male, average height, dark hoodie. He lets himself in with a key and moves through my apartment methodically. Kitchen first. Loosens the cabinet hinge with a screwdriver just enough that it sags. Then bedroom. Jams something into the window latch so it won't close right. He's staging damage. At 10:32 a.m., Carl knocks and enters with his maintenance kit to fix both issues. Legitimate work orders filed at 3:48 a.m. from my supposedly secured email. Yesterday, Carl came back for another repair. While he worked in the bathroom, I searched my apartment. Started with obvious hiding spots, then paranoid ones. Inside my bedroom air vent, I found a copied master key on a blue carabiner keychain with a small compass attached. I gave Darren that keychain 2 years ago for his birthday. My friend who works in digital forensics pulled my email server logs. My account was compromised 5 months ago. Remote access installed, someone logging in from an external IP during early morning hours ever since. Every fake work order, every forged signature, submitted remotely while I slept. Darren has been entering my apartment for months, breaking things, then using my hacked email to create maintenance requests. Carl shows up to fix them, thinking everything is legitimate. The manager was unwitting cover for continuous access to my home. This is beyond creepy. Have you checked your apartment for cameras? If he has access to your email, he might have installed surveillance. Seriously, get a camera detector from Amazon ASAP. I've seen cases where building staff installed hidden cameras during repairs. It happens more than people think. I had something similar and it turned out to be a previous tenant who copied keys. Please get your locks changed today, not tomorrow. He'd been inside the whole time. She called the police with the footage, the keychain, and 5 months of digital breadcrumbs. The detective who took my statement said it was one of the most methodical stalking cases she'd seen. Darren had compromised my email account back in January, installed remote access software that logged every keystroke. He'd been entering my apartment at night for months, sometimes while I was asleep in the next room, staging minor damage, then submitting fake maintenance requests from my hacked account to legitimize Carl's frequent visits. Carl was completely cleared. He'd been following proper protocol the entire time, responding to what looked like legitimate work orders with valid signatures and confirmations. He was unknowingly providing cover for Darren's access. The building management is cooperating fully with the investigation. I broke my lease without penalty and moved to a new building across town, with keypad entry, security cameras in every hallway, and digital access logs I can monitor from my phone. Changed my email address, got a new phone number, filed for a restraining order. What haunts me isn't just the physical violation, it's how he weaponized my own digital identity against me. Every confirmation email, Every electronic signature, every timestamp made it look like I was authorizing his access to my most intimate space. He turned my routine into his cover story. Darren is facing charges for stalking, computer fraud, and criminal trespass. My forensics friend found evidence he'd been accessing my email remotely over 200 times. I'm pursuing a civil case as well. I'm safe now. The locks are different, the building is different, my entire digital footprint is different. But I still check my access logs every single morning. The fact that he's doing repairs in your bedroom while you're gone is what terrifies me. What else has he been doing in there? On to the next one. I, 28 female, woke up Christmas morning to find gifts under my tree for children I don't know. The tags were all wrong. Names she recognized from her classroom roster, Emma, Olivia, Marcus, written in careful block letters. Gifts she'd never bought. I'm a 28-year-old elementary school teacher living alone in a small apartment downtown. My ex and I broke up 3 months ago, so this is my first Christmas by myself. I teach 3rd grade at Lincoln Elementary. I woke up around 7 a.m. and walked into my living room. That's when I saw them. 6 wrapped presents under my tree that I did not put there. They weren't there at midnight when I went to bed. I'd been up wrapping gifts for my sister Sarah. There was nothing under that tree except hers. All of them had gift tags. Every 2 name was a child in my current 3rd grade class. Emma, Olivia, Marcus, Jaden, Sophia, Liam. The from lines were blank. My door was locked. Deadbolt and chain both engaged from the inside. All windows locked. I checked every entry point twice. No signs of forced entry anywhere. No scratches, no broken glass, nothing. I stood there for 15 minutes with my phone in hand, not sure who to call. Then I opened the one tagged to Emma. Inside was a crayon drawing of a house with a purple sky. I threw that in the classroom trash last Wednesday during cleanup. Emma had been upset, but it was just a scribble from free time. The second box, to Olivia, contained a Hello Kitty hair ribbon. I confiscated it from Olivia in September because she kept playing with it during math. I tossed it in my desk drawer at school and forgot about it. Someone has been in my apartment, and they've been in my classroom. The violation was complete. Not just her home, not just her workplace. Someone had moved between both spaces freely while she existed in neither. 4 more gifts sat unopened beneath the tree. Nothing had been forced, nothing had been broken. I spent the next hour checking every possible entry point. All 3 windows locked, with the wooden dowels wedged in the tracks. Balcony door locked from inside. Front door had both the deadbolt and chain engaged. I even checked the bathroom vent cover. Nothing disturbed anywhere. My building has a security camera in the hallway. I pulled up the footage on my phone. Between midnight and 7 a.m. when I woke up, nobody entered or left my apartment. The hallway stayed empty except for my neighbor's cat wandering past around 4 a.m. I opened the rest of the gifts one by one. Marcus, a blue pencil box covered in dinosaur stickers. I recognized it from my classroom desk drawer, one of those items I'd been meaning to return to Lost and Found. Jaden, a single gray glove with red stripes. A student had lost it during my November recess duty. I'd kept it in my classroom closet in case someone claimed it. Sophia, a bookmark shaped like a ladybug. I had no specific memory of it, but it looked familiar. Liam, a small plastic dinosaur, maybe 2 inches tall. Some kid had left it on my desk weeks ago. All completely mundane. All things I'd recognized but hadn't actively noticed were missing. That made it worse somehow. How long had someone been stealing from my classroom? How many times had they been inside without me knowing? I called my sister Sarah around 10 a.m. She's at our aunt's house for Christmas, about 3 hours away with the rest of our family. I could hear the confusion in her voice when I explained. Wrapped gifts? From your classroom? She offered to drive back immediately, but I told her no. What could she actually do? Instead, I sat down and made a list of everyone who has access to both my apartment and my classroom. Mr. Chen, the school janitor. He has master keys to every room in the building. Always been friendly with me, maybe too friendly. Always asking about my weekend plans, what I do after work. Mrs. Rodriguez, the principal. She has master keys too, but I can't picture her breaking into my home. My landlord obviously has keys to my apartment, but why would he have any connection to my classroom at Lincoln Elementary? I don't know. What I do know is that someone with access to both places spent weeks or months collecting items from my classroom and then arranged them under my Christmas tree while I slept. 3 names on her list. One of them had been watching. She wouldn't sleep in that apartment again for days.
The police listened. They didn't believe her.
I filed a police report on Christmas afternoon. 2 officers showed up, walked through my apartment, asked if anything valuable was stolen. When I said no, just classroom items, I could see them losing interest. They took photos of the gifts, wrote down my ex-boyfriend's information, and told me to call if anything else happens. My ex has an alibi. He spent Christmas with his new girlfriend's family in another state. School is closed for winter break. I can't get into my classroom until January 3rd when teachers report back. I can't even check if anything else is missing or disturbed. I keep thinking about Mr. Chen, the janitor at Lincoln Elementary. He's in his late 50s, always overly friendly, always asking personal questions about my weekend, whether I'm seeing anyone, what I do after work. Sometimes he'd show up to empty trash during my planning period when no kids were around and just linger. He has master keys to every single classroom in the building. But how would he get into my apartment? I packed a bag yesterday and drove to Sarah's place about 3 hours away. I told her I'd stay through New Year's at least. I can't sleep in that apartment knowing someone was inside while I was there. The thought of lying in bed, completely unaware, while someone moved through my home makes my skin crawl. I keep replaying the past few months. Times when I felt watched walking to my car after school. A drawer I closed that was open the next morning. My bathroom cabinet rearranged. I thought I was being paranoid or just forgetful. Now I don't know what was real. The comments came quickly. This is absolutely terrifying. The fact that he had a key the entire time and you had no idea. Please tell me you've moved out and changed every lock. The gifts kept appearing over multiple nights, which means he came in repeatedly while you were sleeping. I feel physically sick reading this. Wait, he was entering your apartment regularly enough to know exactly when you put up a tree? How long was he watching you? Did your camera really not catch anything? The camera only covers the hallway approach, not the actual door. Since he has a key, there's no forced entry to catch. Police think he'd been coming in for months based on what they found. I keep replaying all the times something felt slightly off, like I'd close a drawer and later it was open, or my bathroom cabinet would be rearranged. I thought I was being paranoid or forgetful. In 3 days, Sarah would spot something that changed everything. 3 nights later, she posted again. Police found a lockbox of my classroom items in my landlord's apartment. Sarah drove me back to my apartment last night around 2 a.m. to grab more clothes. When we pulled into the parking lot, we both noticed my landlord's truck parked outside, engine running, headlights on. That's weird for a Wednesday night. He lives in the building, ground floor unit. Why would his truck be running at 2 a.m.? Sarah insisted we call the police immediately. This time they listened. Maybe because it was the second report, or because we caught someone actively on site, but 2 officers showed up within 20 minutes. They asked the landlord to open his apartment. He refused initially, kept saying he was just checking the heating system. The officers got a search warrant by morning. They found a metal lockbox under his bed. Inside were dozens of items from my classroom spanning the last 6 months. My hall pass lanyard I thought I'd lost in September, a coffee mug with my name on it, erasers, gradebook notes I'd thrown away, a pen I'd been looking for, all organized in labeled Ziploc bags with dates written on them. Worse than that, printed photos of me, taken through my apartment window, me cooking dinner, me grading papers at my kitchen table, me getting ready for bed. His daughter is in my 3rd grade class. After parent-teacher conferences in October, she went home and talked about me constantly. He became obsessed, started following me to school, going through my classroom trash, entering my apartment whenever I left. The police arrested him this morning. The items in the box told the story of months she hadn't known she was being watched. Former teacher here, this is nightmare fuel. Have you told your principal? The school needs to know one of your students' parents has been stalking you and stealing from your classroom. The hair ribbon and trash drawing are what got me. He was going through your classroom garbage? This is so far beyond normal creepy. Document everything with timestamps. That's what I can't get past either. He was either following her to work or going there separately after hours, stalking her at multiple locations. This is absolutely restraining order and felony charges territory.
Justice came quickly. Healing would take longer.
He's been charged with stalking, breaking and entering, and theft. The police estimate he entered my apartment at least 12 times over the past 6 months, based on the dates written on those Ziploc bags. I was home sleeping during some of those times. He was inside my apartment while I slept in my bed. My lawyer confirmed I can break the lease with zero penalty given the circumstances. I moved in with Sarah last week. I'm not going back to that apartment except to get my belongings, with a police escort scheduled for next week. I transferred to a different elementary school in another district for the spring semester. New building, new students, completely fresh start. My principal at Lincoln Elementary was horrified when she found out what happened. She wrote a strong recommendation letter for my transfer within 2 hours. The restraining order was granted yesterday. He's not allowed within 500 feet of me, my workplace, or Sarah's address where I'm living now. I installed door braces at every entrance here and security cameras at every window. I check the locks 3 times before bed every single night. I still wake up at every sound. A car door closing outside, the heater kicking on, Sarah getting up for water at night. The worst part is knowing he was inside while I slept, multiple times, moving through my home, taking my things, photographing me through the windows while I was completely unaware. I keep replaying all those nights I thought I was safe behind a locked door. Therapy starts next week. Sarah has been absolutely incredible through everything. I'm so lucky to have her. Thank you to everyone for the support and advice. I never imagined Christmas morning would lead to this. She would never stop checking locks. Some violations couldn't be undone. Please tell me you're not still living there. A landlord with a master key can come back any time. Get a door brace or chain lock, something he can't override. And that's the last story for today.